right, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Morning Edge webinar. Hope everybody's having a great trading session and happy Tuesday to you. Happy turnaround Tuesday. So we're going to get started on our morning analysis. And damn, you know what? I need to open up this field just a little bit more so we can read all of November. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's start with the euro dollar and let's go there. So here's the euro. Like I said, I think this support for now is going to hold. I don't know if we're going to be able to hold it today in general. If I had to imagine what's going to happen today, this is what's going to happen. This is why I'm looking to sell 110 level. So I think 110 is going to rally, and then we can sell back off towards 109.50. Okay, that's how I plan on trading the euro today, just so you all know. 110, and we could even get further than that, I guess. You know, we could maybe even make it up to 110.15. So what I'll do is I'll write resistance at 110.15, but think about that 110 might be it if we do get, you know, a rally up there. Okay, I think you got to look to sell rallies into resistance. All right, we are still in a bearish bias. Okay, support for right now is, well, we obviously have a lot of horizontal support here at 109.65, but the 786. Let's say Andy, who he's looking at this. I'm assuming he's looking at this triangle. Maximum, you know, extension of this triangle takes us to the, well, looks maybe even a little past towards the 88% retracement, which would be around 109.20. But we'll have support down through here. Okay. So I'm going to write down 109.40 and 109.65 as two levels that we'll look at for support and resistance. Okay, so 109.40, 109.65. Two levels of support that we'll have to deal with this morning, I think, that we should pay attention to. Okay, let's take a look at the cable. So the pound, you know, we have this hourly head and shoulder pattern with the cable. Now, construction PMI came in basically in line with the expectations, maybe slightly lower, depending on what analyst you are, but you know, it's put some downside pressure on the cable. Not a lot yet, but you can see the head and shoulder pattern that we're currently dealing with, which is, you know, gives us a the potential to start retracing a little bit, especially that failure up at 155. I mean, this is this resistance here. We struggled with it last week. You know, 155 was like a wall. You know, I think you got buyers that are just like, okay, fine, we can't break 155. I'm done with it. You know, I'm finished with it now. And some selling's taking place as of right now. We should find some support here at the 618. Maybe the 786 though. Looking at the head and shoulder pattern, that could take us down to 153. So I will write down 153 as support. Resistance is obviously going to be this right shoulder, which would be 154.50. Okay, that's key resistance. So 154.50 asterisk. That's key resistance in order for the head and shoulder pattern to stay in play, and then 153 is support. Okay, let's take a look at the Swissy. So the Swissy's back at 99 cents. Here's a Swissy, challenging. Once again, we struggle with this 99.10. You remember how big this was last week? Remember, we were looking at 99.10 and we're like, okay, if we break 99.10, that'll be really bullish. We hit 99.10 and like maybe 3/10 of a pip or something, whatever the high was. 99.10 and 5/10 of a pip and reversed pretty aggressively. Okay, shows you how big that resistance is. That again comes in at 99.10. Good news is if we scale it, if we scale it, then party on. So, but 99.10 is a big deal. Support is obviously right back down here. We held this 94. We wrote down. I'm sorry, 98.45. We basically came down to 98.35 following the London fix yesterday, and that was it. Just like a little plunge below, took out a couple of stops, and then right back up again. So even overnight in Europe, we went down to 45 again. So this 98. We'll call it 98.35, but it's 98.45 really. It, it's all right here. Just really key level support. Okay, we are still on a bullish trend as long as we remain above this yellow trend line here, which remember spawns back all of this year, but all the way back to 2001. As long as we remain above that yellow trend line, it's bullish. Okay. Now we have some work to do. Obviously, we get above parity. It's really got to get above parity before I start whistling Dixie. But we get above parity, and I'm going to be a pretty happy camper. I'm going to be really happy when we scale above 102.50. But anyway, my next add point is above parity for me. Being long the dollar Swiss. All right. My cost average right now on the dollar Swiss is 98.18, and I'm just sitting in it. But again, it's above parity, and I start really, really getting super excited about it. Going back over to the daily chart, so we've had a decent little pullback. Maybe even this could end up being more of a flag pattern. We'll see as it develops. But anyway, resistance. 99.10, beyond that is 99.60. Okay. All right. So that's the Swissy. Let's go take a look at the dollar yen. So the dollar yen struggling on an approach to 121. Yesterday we wrote down resistance being at 120. Didn't we write down resistance at being at 120.80? I think we did, and we've slowly made it beyond that, but 121 should be a big deal. I mean, this is going to be a 618 retracement, basically. So, and especially if equities continue to show some weakness, it's going to be tough for the dollar yen to make it much beyond that. But 121 will be resistance today. Should be pretty good resistance too. Okay. Support is obviously down here, and this is key, which comes in at 120.25. Any approach to that is going to be finding some buyers, I'm sure. That's significant support. We are range bound here with the dollar yen. All right, let's take a real quick look at the Canadian. So the Canadian, there hasn't been a whole lot going on with the Canadian. I'm not, I honestly don't have a lot of excitement for the Canadian as of right now. We had our AB equals CD move, nice pivot from 130.50, which was expected, 127% extension, 50% retracement, bigger move, 127% extension, fine. We've actually, rejected at our resistance that we wrote down yesterday, which I believe we wrote down 131.25, right? I don't know. I'm just going off memory, but that red line we drew there yesterday. So, and we basically hit it. So 131.50 obviously is big resistance. If we clear that, that might actually be fairly exciting because if I'm not mistaken, let's see something. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of that. 131.50, if that breaks, then you know that these commodity currencies are probably coming under some pressure. Okay, so I will write down 131 and a quarter. That would get me kind of excited if we broke that, because then that means that we're probably heading back up towards 132, maybe 132.50. I'd like to see like the Kiwi start to break below 67 cents, which is support, which is really critical support. Um, but if we fail here, 130.50 is going to be support again. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the Kiwi. Speaking of which, Kiwi is an important support today, and it's not breaking unless the dairy auction results come in worse than expected. Period. End of story. Okay. Um, this is obviously triangle support, big support. We've drew this yesterday. I wasn't a big fan of this head and shoulder pattern, by the way. This is somebody brought it to my attention. I'm like, well, I'm just going to remove it real quick. What I'm more concerned with at the moment is this uptrend line that you see here. Okay, it's really important, and that we were boxed in between 68 cents and 67 cents. We are at support right now, so I will write down both levels. Okay, 67. Now, obviously, we need to be on guard. Oops, sorry, this is range bound. And we need to be on guard because 67 cents is so close, okay, to breaking. So if we break it, obviously the next support is going to be 66 and a quarter. This will be, our next target. We'll be right through here. If we break that, and that's only going to happen on a weak dairy auction result today. All right. Other than that, we're sitting on really key support. I don't know if I'd be inclined to buy it at the moment, just knowing the data that's coming out, knowing the dairy auction results coming out. But if you guys think that it's going to be a stronger dairy auction result, maybe like I said, due to the China news about you know the expanded child policy in China, and that the dairy auction results might be a little stronger in anticipation of that, you might look to take a little bit of a long here if you want to take that risk. For me, though, it looks like we could push through that support. So you just be really, really careful. Okay. All right. Let me check something else really quick too. Yeah, we're at the 50% retracement too. So very, very careful right here, because we could whip right around and break through 68 cents as well. Okay, so anyway, let's go over to the Aussie. Now the Aussie's holding up well because the RBA might just keep rates unchanged for a while. It looks like they're going to keep monetary policy steady. Let the current actions or the previous actions of what they've done probably work through the economy a little bit. So the Aussie rallied right to, well, it looks like right to resistance. I haven't looked at the Aussie this morning. I was busy looking at other stuff. So it looks to me that the Aussie came right up to resistance and rejected, which now is a big deal. Okay, that is a big deal. Hold on really fast. Oh yeah, it's a big deal. Okay, 72.15. So if we break 72.15 in the Aussie dollar, I might actually go long some Aussie. Not necessarily Aussie dollar. I might go short Euro Aussie. I might go short pound Aussie. But 72.7215 is a big resistance now. Now we are still in a range, mind you. We're still in a big range, right? We're in a big range here, but you know, a move above 72.15, you know, that could target maybe up towards 73 cents, which then it becomes more of a really, you know, key level of resistance. But you know, like I said, playing the Aussie on the long side, well, you know, maybe you don't want to play the Aussie dollar. You know, you're worried about, you know, the all the jobs reports and U.S. data coming out the rest of the week. Fine, just, you know, start looking at the Aussie crosses, pound Aussie, Aussie Canadian, Aussie Swiss, you know, Euro Aussie. Those are all potentials and things maybe that you can trade. All right. So 72 cents, big 72.15, big deal as far as I'm concerned. All right, where's support for the Aussie? Hmm. I mean, the 71.50 should offer some support. Um, so it should offer some support here. Try something else too. I mean, I am, you know, I'm aware of that spike low following the RBNZ, that volatility there, but you know, I think the 71.50 will probably offer a lot of support right through here. $71.50. I think we should write that down. It's not major support, but I think we will find support there. Even if the Aussie, or excuse me, even if the Kiwi breaks through 67 cents, which we're sitting on basically right now, even if the Kiwi breaks down and it drags the Aussie down a little bit, the Aussie should find some support down there. Like I said, it's not going to be great support, but I think people are trying to buy the Aussie dollar on dips. So, you know, 71.50, 71.55, somewhere down here is probably going to support the Aussie fairly well. Okay, let's take a look at the dollar really quick. Here's the dollar. Now, notice I want to talk about the dollar index for a second. Okay, so here's the Dixie, and this is the actual ICE dollar index. So the dollar index did exactly what it should do on a bullish break out. Okay, what we did is we broke out. You see it here. Okay, broke out, retested the breakout point, and we're holding. So what that means now in the dollar index is that the support from the last few days, this pullback, this is critical. As long as this holds, there is no reason to be on the short side of the dollar. Okay. That low, comes in at 96.46. So basically, dollar index, as long as it's above 96.46, that's key support. You should be bullish the dollar as long as we're above that. Okay. See something else. Dollar index. Yeah. See this is the trading view compilation. The low here is 96.46 as well. So pretty damn close. There's just no real great resistance other than the highs, which, if you think about the Aussie or the euro dropping, I mean, the euro would have to go all the way back down to, it would have to go all the way back down to 109 to get back up to these levels right here. There's a spike high here, resistance, which ends up being right here. It's really hard to see. I would say we could write down like 97.30. That's 35. That's probably going to give us a little bit of a stall, especially after a decent move. 97.35. It's not going to be great resistance. Think about it, it could end up being a speed bump as far as I'm concerned. We are in a bullish trend in the dollar index. All right, when I get back, we're going to look at the peso, the Swedish krona, Norwegian krona, anything else that you guys want to look at. So I'll be back in a few moments. Don't go anywhere. Thanks, everybody. It's Tuesday, turn around Tuesday, turn around Tuesday. I'll be back in a few. Thanks. All right, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You were listening to the Morning Edge webinar. I want to welcome you all back. So we got a couple other currencies we need to take a look at. I want to take a look at especially the peso. The reason why I say that is because if stocks start to show a little bit of signs of weakness, the peso could start to make a move. We were right off the. Actually, this doesn't look like a bad place to be. I'm actually thinking about buying some dollar peso down here. Because if you think about this, your risk is below 1633. You know what? I am going to buy some actually down here. I just bought some at 1648.18 is where I just bought it. So I bought a little peso. Wow, that's pretty widespread. Oh, okay, never mind. I'm looking at something else. So I bought a little peso down here because the risk is below 1633. Obviously, your reward is up here at 1670, and if it breaks through, then you've got some potential. So, and then plus this also may be supporting pretty well too through here. Yeah. Anyway, 1633. Also keep in mind the daily trend line is right below, so 16.33, and then 16.70.7000. Okay, and it's range bound, but whoops, one of the things you also have to think about is this daily candle right through here coming into play. Okay. All right, great. Let's go over to here's the USR Norwegian krona. Now, this could be a cup and handle pattern right here. And actually, I'm going to tweet that out because the dollar looks strong, and that was a very shallow retracement. Yeah, if this thing rallies and breaks, this would be a classic cup and handle pattern. Let me grab there we go. You know what? I don't want to do that. Let's do this. Okay. All right. We break higher. This is a classic cup and handle continuation pattern. Oops, sorry. I gotta put in a image. So I like the US dollar Norwegian krona. If we can hold that support. Mm-hmm. 860, and now this support has become key. I mean, with the euro dollar so weak, I don't think that's a bad trade at all. I'm not taking it yet, but if we break it, I'm all over it. So 842, 860. Uh, 8.42, 8.60, and this is I mean, I've been putting range, but frankly, this thing, I mean, if you look at it, man, I don't know how much of a range environment that is. I mean, that's really a pretty damn bullish trend. You know what I mean? Nick asked, Blake, am I short the cable? I'm not. I should. If the euro gets up to 110, I'm going to pretty much buy the dollar. Again, some of these things, like, you know, if the euro gets back to 110, 110.10, I'll short the cable, probably short the euro. I mean, look at the dollar Canadian's already start. The dollar Canadian's right up towards resistance, guys, for this thing. It's pushing right into resistance too. All right. Last we should go look at is the Swedish krona, because the Swedish krona, like I said, if the euro starts breaking down, the Swedish krona we got to be looking at as a possible breakout. So, because it didn't sell off with the euro. So as the euro rallied to 110.70, Swedish krona didn't do squat. Okay. So 857, big resistance for the US dollar Swedish krona. Somebody get my attention if that thing breaks. Because if that thing breaks, I do want to be long, and I'm not long right now. 8.5700, key level of resistance. Oh, this would be key too, right? This is a range, and then support for the Swedish krona. We had it down here, but now we can move that up to 847. Sorry, 847. Okay. All right, guys, your bias chart is done. Finito, finished. So there you go. All right,